What if I told you the house you live in was never meant to last? In Europe, homes stand for centuries, passed down through generations, still strong, still standing. But in America, most houses are built to last just a few decades. Same world, same technology, completely different idea of what a home should be. So why does one side build for 300 years, while the other rebuilds every 50? This isn't about wood versus brick. It's about a hidden system that quietly decides how long your home survives. And once you see it, you won't look at houses the same way again. In Germany, most new houses are built with brick or concrete blocks. In Italy, Spain, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom, residential buildings follow the same masonry standard. Across Europe, homes are designed to last for hundreds of years and are naturally more resistant to fire. In contrast, around 90% of new single-family homes in the United States are built with wood framing, using 2x4 lumber, plywood, and engineered wood panels. The same material used for fast and affordable construction, but also the same material that burns quickly and is more vulnerable to damage over time. Same century, same access to modern building technology, yet two completely different approaches to constructing the most expensive asset most people will ever own. So why does this difference exist? The common explanation is that America has more forests, and wood is cheaper and widely available there. That is true, but it only explains how the system started, not why it continued. Europe also had forests in the past, but over time they were cleared, and Europe permanently shifted to brick and stone construction. Even today, despite modern alternatives like steel framing, engineered timber, and concrete systems, wood still dominates new housing in the United States. The deeper reason is something economists call path dependence. Once an entire system of labor, building codes, supply chains, banking, and insurance develops around one material, changing it becomes extremely difficult, even if better options exist. This is how the United States remained locked into wood construction, while Europe stayed with masonry. The difference becomes even clearer when you look at lifespan. A typical wood-framed house in the United States lasts around 50 to 70 years before major rebuilding is needed. In Europe, brick or concrete homes can last 200 to 500 years with proper maintenance. In some parts of Spain and Italy, houses are still lived in after 600 to 700 years. As a result, Europe often preserves the same homes across generations, while the United States frequently rebuilds the same housing stock multiple times. Two systems, two completely different relationships with the idea of home. So how did this split actually begin? We go back to the 17th century, when European settlers first arrived in North America and encountered a forested continent on a scale they had never seen before. Massive old-growth pine, oak, maple, and cedar stretched across the land. The eastern half of the continent was basically a continuous wall of timber, running from Maine all the way down to Florida. Some estimates suggest that before colonization, the eastern woodlands covered around 1 billion acres. In that environment, cutting trees was not just allowed, it was necessary. Forests had to be cleared to make space for farmland anyway. So wood became the most natural choice, cheap, fast, and everywhere. Early American homes weren't really a design philosophy, they were simply the easiest way to build in a land full of lumber. Meanwhile in Europe, the situation had already changed long before. By the Middle Ages, much of the continent's forests had been heavily reduced due to shipbuilding, fuel, and construction demand. By the 1500s, quality timber had become rare and expensive. So most European regions had no practical choice except stone, brick, and lime mortar. These materials were heavier, slower to build with, and required skilled labor, but there was no alternative left. Europe essentially ran out of wood before it ran out of demand for housing. That single shift in resources, centuries ago, pushed the two continents onto completely different building paths. In Europe, brickmaking evolved into a long-standing craft. Every town had kilns, every city had masons, and construction methods developed slowly over hundreds of years around the idea that buildings should be solid, heavy, and permanent. Entire systems formed around this thinking: building codes, banking rules, insurance models, and skilled labor, all centered on masonry structures designed to last for generations. In the United States, the direction was completely different. In the 1830s, the country developed balloon framing, a method that allowed houses to be built using standardized lumber, nails, and simple tools like hammers. No specialized masonry skills, no kilns, no slow stonework. Just mass-produced wood from sawmills and distribution through expanding railroads. Within about 50 years, balloon framing and later platform framing became the standard across the country. Homes could now be built in weeks instead of months, and that speed became the defining feature of American construction. Wood framing made housing significantly cheaper in the US, often 10 to 60% less expensive than equivalent brick or concrete homes. It also required less specialized labor, was easier to transport, and much faster to assemble. Even modifications were simpler. Interior walls could be opened, rewired, and closed again without major structural difficulty. A small crew could raise the frame of a house in just days, without years of training. Masonry, on the other hand, developed into a completely different system. Brick construction requires trained masons, long curing times for mortar, precise structural alignment, and careful pre-planning for plumbing and electrical systems, since changes later are difficult and expensive. The entire process takes longer, costs more, and depends on a skilled workforce that is far less common in the United States. There are not enough trained masons in America to build the country at scale with brick, even if every developer wanted to. This is what economists call a path dependence trap. Wood becomes cheaper because the entire construction industry is already built around it. And masonry becomes more expensive because the system isn't set up for it. Then, because it's expensive, even fewer people invest in it. The cycle keeps reinforcing itself over time. Then there are the rules. In the United States, building codes are designed around wood construction. Inspectors are trained for wood. Banks approve mortgages assuming wood structures. Insurance companies calculate risk based on the typical lifespan of wood-framed homes. So even when a developer wants to build with concrete or brick, the financing, approvals, and supply chains naturally push everything back toward wood. The system doesn't officially ban masonry, it just makes it harder, slower, and less attractive, until most builders simply avoid it. In Europe, the situation is almost the opposite. Try building a wood-framed house in a city like Berlin, and you'll immediately face obstacles. Building codes may restrict it, insurance costs go up, and resale value drops because buyers expect masonry homes. Banks are also more cautious about financing it. Over time, the entire market has been shaped around brick and stone, making wood the unusual choice instead of the standard. Now look at the real-world consequences of the American system. In 2023, the National Fire Protection Association recorded over 380,000 residential structure fires in the United States, with around 2,800 civilian deaths and billions of dollars in property damage. The fire death rate is also significantly higher than in many Western European countries. For example, Germany reports around 5.3 deaths per million people, while the United States is more than double that. Weather makes the difference even more visible. In Florida, hurricanes expose the weakness of wood construction. Category 4 storms can destroy entire neighborhoods of wooden homes, while properly built concrete block houses often remain standing. After Hurricane Andrew in 1992, Florida changed its building codes and encouraged stronger concrete construction in coastal areas, and those homes performed far better in later storms. There are also hidden costs. Termite damage alone costs American homeowners billions of dollars every year. In Europe, this problem is far less common because termites cannot damage brick or stone structures at the same scale. Wildfires in regions like California and the Pacific Northwest also show the same pattern. Wood-framed neighborhoods can be destroyed quickly, while masonry homes often survive in the same area. And there is one more cost that is rarely discussed. Wood-framed homes are not built to last for centuries. Their lifespan is measured in decades, not generations. When they deteriorate, they are often demolished and rebuilt. That cycle keeps industries like construction, materials, lending, and insurance constantly active, which supports economic activity. But from a long-term perspective, it limits wealth building. A European family that buys a brick home in 1940 can often pass the same structure down through generations. An American family that bought a wood-framed home in 1970 is now often seeing that house age or get replaced, while the real long-term value sits in the land beneath it. The structure becomes a depreciating asset, while the dirt becomes the real investment. There are small changes at the edges. In Florida's hurricane zones, concrete homes are becoming more common. In wildfire areas, insurance pressure is pushing stronger materials. Mass timber and cross-laminated panels are also starting to appear in larger buildings. But at the national level, residential construction has not really changed. Wood still dominates because the entire system, builders, suppliers, banks, and codes, is built around it. If you go back 300 years, settlers chose wood because forests were abundant and brick was harder to access. That early decision shaped everything that followed, and the system never really moved away from it. Europe took a different path after running out of timber and shifted to brick and stone, creating homes built to last for centuries. America stayed with wood, creating homes that often last within a single lifetime. So the real question is simple: has the US chosen the most practical system, or is it locked into a model where homes are not meant to last forever?